In the spring of 2021, Jinkx Monsoon and Nick Sahoyah recorded a Futurama recap podcast. For reasons unknown, it was never released. These are the raw tapes.
I'm 40% podcast. I'm 40% podcast. You know I'm 40% podcast, baby. You know I'm 40% podcast. You know I'm 40% podcast, baby. I'm only 40%. Go. 40% podcast. I'm 40% podcast.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jinkx Monsoon, and welcome to another episode of I'm 40% Podcast, the Futurama review podcast. I'm here, as always, with this little dirt bag. I wish you could see him. He's never looked more stoned. I don't think he's bathed. He's my son and best friend, Kamikaze Nick Sahoyah.
Okay, no, Mom, I wasn't gonna say anything. I was just gonna let you do it.
It was
and
all
you're
in
self-sabotaging. You're letting your inner saboteur ruin your intro. Can you please do it for real this time? But faster, because that was too long.
Hi, everyone. It's your girl, Jinkx, here with 40% Podcast. This episode 8 is going to be great. I'm here with Nick Sahoyah, my comedy partner and, friend, former roommate. And we're very excited.
Quit while you're ahead. That was really good.
And we're very excited because we have a very exciting guest with us today. It's Solomon Georgio.
Hi. Oh, I'm so happy to be here.
Hi, I'm so happy to have you here. Nick never shuts up about you. I'm pretty sure you're the reason you... I'm sure you're the reason that Nick moved to LA.
I assure you, I'm the reason why most people move to LA.
Solomon was the first ever gay comedian from Seattle to move to Los Angeles, and I 10 years later got my little tickets here.
Yeah, it's been 9 years. It took you a while.
Well, you know what? I had to stop in San Francisco for 2 years. And then I got
not even 2 years. that whole blip in our lives, that whole 1.5 year long hiccup.
I made a lot of friends there because I actually lived there.
Yeah,
you were gone a lot.
You know what's so okay? So Solomon, brief history.
Why do you keep saying Solomon?
Is there a different way I should say it?
Take your
Solomon.
time. Take your time with the name.
Solomon. I'm not used to these biblical names. It's like I know how to pronounce.
It sounds like you're saying sullen man, which Solomon is not.
I don't even know what that means, but I'll take it.
A sullen person, like a dour, sad person. That's not you.
Oh,
Solomon. Can I call you Solomon.
I once went to order coffee and the barista spelled my name as salmon, but the person that gave me my drink pronounced it correctly. So it was.
They must have overheard everything and was sitting there shaking their head at their.
So Solomon and Jinkx.
Yeah.
You both are Hulu people now.
Goodness.
Jinkx just had a Hulu movie with our friend Dayla, and Solomon has written for every show on Hulu, including Woke and High Fidelity and others.
Shrill. There's a third.
Shrill, yes, so good.
Shrill. Oh my gosh, I just binge watched Shrill.
I just binge drank.
I just drank before this and it just hit me. No, I just binged watch all of Shrill.
Oh,
I absolutely love it.
Yay.
There's just I could rave on and on about that show, but it's not the shrill podcast. But I will say that, like, having lived in Seattle for 11 years and the show being inspired by so much of Lindy West's work, who's a friend and who also lived in Seattle. And so, like, the experiences in the show are based on experiences she had in Seattle. But the show is set and filmed in Portland, where I was born and raised and am watching the show. So it really fucks with my mind because I'm like, it's about Seattle, but it's set in Portland, and I'm very familiar with both. And that person's supposed to be this person in my real life, and I'm friends with half the people that are being parodied here. It's a really good show. Congratulations, Solomon.
Thank you. We're coming at it from both angles because I think we've never met, yet we know almost all the same people.
We were talking about so many funny things before we began recording because Nick's a stunning producer.
I didn't say no one is allowed to record. You could have hit record on you're hosting the Zoom. That's your one job. I have 7. You have 1. You didn't hit the record button on the Zoom.
Listen, the point is, I'm filling the listeners in, okay? Before we began recording, we were talking about how Solomon and I almost met at a bar once, or kind of met at a bar once, but I was trying to get laid, so I had a tunnel vision. It was back when I drank, so, the memory of this blurs into every other memory of being at a bar in LA trying to get laid, and Nick trying to... strong arm me into a new friendship.
Well, we finally made it happen. It just took one pandemic and one Futurama podcast to get us there.
About 5 years.
Just years of attempted failure, but it's fine. Here we are now, during a pandemic over the internet.
Solomon.
Let me take this one, Jinkx. Solomon, have you ever seen Futurama before?
I have seen Futurama many times over. I think it's...
You like it? How refreshing.
I think it's actually... I would say it's the better work of Matt Groening. I think it's my favorite. Like, I love early Simpsons, but I think Futurama is perfect from beginning to end.
Yeah. I think there's possibility that Disenchantment might become Matt Groening's... I avoid saying his name. I avoid enunciating his name because I hate trying to say it correctly. But
I've never said it correctly. I just try. I just do it differently every time.
I think Disenchantment is pretty damn good, but Futurama kind of has... Beyond the seniority, it just kind of has the the magic of all the right things falling into place at all the right moments. But Futurama definitely takes a huge dip.
Well, I mean, after it comes back, but sort of the cool thing about Futurama is there's only 10 seasons of it, so it's not like South Park where you just get sick of the same thing over and over again. But the show ran because it was canceled like 3 times. The show ran for like 17 years. So you kind of get to have topical ideas from all across this like 20-year spectrum.
But here's the thing.
When you map it out like that, that's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
There's a line, I think it's like the 300th episode or something, where they're like, it's our 300th delivery. That's almost one a week or whatever.
I think for me, it's like the dip in Futurama is like a dip in comparison to itself, not a dip in comparison to other work. So it's like, it's still pretty great
That's
I will
such
say
a good
there's
point.
2 episodes I actively dislike, and I think that's it.
We have some episodes that we call optional or just throwaway episodes, like but today's
Yeti?
episode is we always bring up the Yeti, but today's episode is actually quite a good episode.
Such a good one.
It's wonderful for satire. It's wonderful for writing. It's wonderful for, like, they found ways to get my brain at a young age thinking about things that were important, but not in a preachy way that, like, made me feel threatened or felt dumb, Because, like, Futurama actually taught me about global warming and recycling in ways that stuck in my brain. As a young, arrogant youth.
I was a full teenager and like near adulthood when this episode came out, so I was very aware.
How old are you? You're talking about yourself like...
I somewhere between 39 and 40.
Okay. Oh my goodness.
Jinkx, how old are you?
I'm 33, and I just keep thinking, who could have guessed that my 30s would be where it's at?
Oh, it's hands down the best time to be alive.
I feel so bad for my partner because he's 25.
Oh, good luck with he's got 5 more years? Good.
I mean, he's doing 25 pretty well, but...
He's like an old soul, though.
He is an old soul. I've always told him I rarely think about our age difference because emotionally and mentally we seem to be on the same track. But that's a mix of him being mature and me being infantile, you know? Like we meet in the middle there.
That's very handy.
Like Benjamin Button.
Please do not call my relationship a Benjamin Button.
Also, really?
Like, what? Is Michael aging backwards?
I don't know. He won't submit to any of my tests. So this episode starts. Professor says that they're going to Ebola-9 the virus planet.
Yes.
But first, they have to go to a scientific symposium because he wants them to be there and not dead. And this is a different kind of cold open because a lot of the cold opens before this have been like, oh, we're flying and that planet turns out to be a bug, you know? This one's actually related to the plot. It's like setting things up.
Well, surprisingly, I tend to not remember any cold open. I'm very bad at remembering cold opens.
It takes you 30 seconds for your brain to turn on.
Well, it's also because it's not 100% about the episode. So I'm just like, why am I going to remember the part of the episode that has nothing to do with the episode?
It's like the prologue in a Shakespeare play. It's just to get your brain thinking in terms of Futurama, but you're not actually going to retain any of the information.
That's the 3 minutes that I'm on my phone before I put it down.
Solomon
you put
can't
your
remember
phone down?
Yes. No, I put it near. I rest it near me.
Yeah.
So we're at the symposium. We never actually get to go to Ebola-9.
You are skipping over the cold open, which has one of my favorite.
Oh, the death clock, yeah.
Oh, yes, I do now remember.
The professor introduces his invention for the scientist symposium, and it's a death clock, and Leela asks, is that thing actually accurate? And he says, it's occasionally off by a few seconds, what with free will and all. I just love that line because he's so dismissive of one of the...
But only a few seconds off, which is really...
Which, implies that most of our fate is predetermined, but we do have a little wiggle room.
You can enjoy that extra 5 seconds before your doom. If you make
or just enjoy it. What's happening at that time.
I don't know what I'd prefer, complete free will and the no afterlife, or destiny and fate being predetermined, and then I get to go to Valhalla.
Jinkx, what the fuck are you talking about?
Well, fate normally goes with the idea of an afterlife,
Yes.
Everything's planned.
The concept of forever is too much for me. I want there to be an ending.
Now, even if I just became a tree and I could just chill for 1,000 years, I'd be fine with that.
See, my goal is to do something so terrible that if there is an afterlife, I will not be able to live it down. So I can't guarantee myself.
Are you
myself
one
that.
of those I'd rather party in hell people?
No, I definitely want to make sure everybody else has a bad time there too.
Oh, you're gonna be like an intern down there.
Yes.
Gotta work your way up the ladder.
Oh my goodness.
I'm very goal focused. I'm a Capricorn. I gotta have a job.
Capricorn. Wow, we're like right in. No, we're like getting out of Capricorn.
Yes.
We're about to hit Aquarius.
I think we are in Aquarius. Yeah, no,
Already?
we should be. Yeah, it's as of like 2 days ago or the day before
These
yesterday.
cusps, I feel like they're half the time. I feel like they're arbitrary. Like I think I know when the cusps are, and someone's like, "Actually, I'm a cusp," and I'm like, "What?" It's like 6 days away from when I thought that. Actually, if you go by this calendar and by this reading,
It's a lot of stuff that's been written, that's been made up in weird ways, and some of it's fun, and some of it's like I need to know what the rules are.
I love the people who are like, cusps don't exist. That's all made up. And I'm like, all right. And what about the rest of the stuff there?
hey, some of it. Come on, some of it seems, they're
Like
on
a
to
very
something.
vaguely written thing that could be interpreted any way you want it to be interpreted.
How like a Scorpio, am I right?
Well, the thing is that I don't really believe in astrology that much, and the first thing about Capricorns is that they don't really believe in it.
I like
what a trap.
I'm like, I believe in it because I choose to believe in it. Like, I'm basically a Trump supporter for astrology. Like there's all kinds of evidence in front of me that there's no point to be doing this. But I choose to do it. It's like called willful ignorance,
Yes.
I'll believe what I was programmed to believe.
All right. So professor's got a death clock, going to a symposium, and
Zoom in on the symposium. There's
First
a
of
taxi
all,
cab.
The fact that the symposium was hosted by Ron Popeil as head, I think that was a nice little nod to.
Who is Ron Popeil? I didn't know.
Oh
Yeah,
my
I was
god! Oh my god! See, this is where the
didn't know.
age gap jumps
Solomon.
in. Ron Popeil was one of those infomercial inventors. He's a guy that invented pretty much hair in a can that people sprayed in the back of their head. He made the food dehydrator as well.
Like a Billy Mays type.
Yeah.
Billy Mays, before Billy Mays, as a matter of fact. So Billy Mays would be considered a Ron Popeil type.
I'm so sorry.
There you go. You sounded like one of those idiot children who was like, I can't believe Elton John covered this song. And it's like, this is Elton John's song.
This is
you little
God, fucking get your shit together, you
psychopath.
fucking
Get out of my house.
children. I feel like it also feels very weird that I'm talking down to other 30-year-olds for not knowing something.
I feel like in the queer community, a few years can make a big difference. And I normally say that about drag queens.
A few years makes a difference between going on Craigslist and sucking somebody's dick in the woods to having Grindr.
I don't know, because it's cyclical. It's cyclical, because now, like, my 19 and 20-year-old friends are hooking up in the woods because they think it's kitsch. Like, they think it's camp.
How many 19 and 20-year-old friends you got, Jinkx?
More than I should have.
Unfortunately, drag queens are loved by many.
Yeah, well, I've never chosen the fact that young people are drawn to me. I've lived with it.
I've done everything I possibly could to make sure it didn't happen. Unfortunately, I don't have to deal with it. But yeah, young queers just try to bring back some of the past, just to, enjoy.
Yeah.
I think they saw it on Riverdale.
It's like retro for them. And I'm like, that was just my childhood. And it feels like and it feels like it's progressing faster now. Like I feel like retro is like 10 years ago now. And it's like retro used to be like half a century. And now they're like, everything moves too quick.
Well, my issue is like, I don't like it when people get to do something for fun that I had to do out of regret and shame.
But isn't that progress? Like, I think about that in terms of drag.
Sure.
When I did it, it was not fun. It was like, like I did it for survival. I did it because I felt the need inside of me, And now it's like, I'll just do Instagram for 2 years, go on Drag Race, become famous, and da 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 da. And it's like actually I had to like perform in literal roach-infested bars.
It is true.
Oh, yeah.
Beer-stained, crumpled ones. And I was living my fantasy. I'm just like Sally Bowles.
You could not tell 21-year-old Jinkx in her little purple slip dress that she was not the fiercest fucking lady on the planet.
I kind of leaned into the disgusting nature of everything that was going on.
Look, as somebody who started doing stand-up during the Bush presidency, I know that feeling a little bit. As I oh god, I remember one time I had to do a show in Ellensburg, Washington, to a conservative radio audience. They only advertise on conservative radio, and my gay little ass had 45 minutes for the first time, and I was like, we're gonna power through this together as a family.
And you still see them once a year.
There's not a laugh, not even a breath for 45 minutes.
I think, oh my gosh. I have so many ways to continue derailing our conversation.
So anyway, Futurama, episode 8.
I like that we see the symposium and it's a bunch of scientists standing around in lab coats, and just the audio, you hear a bunch of murmuring, but then you hear the professor go, "Oh my, yes," just how he always says it. And I just like little audio jokes like that.
Yeah, I mean, like,
it's
I feel
audio
like
perfection, or what did we say?
Audio heaven. which we weren't recording for, so it's a reference to something no one will understand. But Nick said,
"So funny, guys!
Audio so heaven, like the most up his own ass douchebag ever." And he's just not an audio person, so I told him
admit that. I always have for all of my films. I have someone come in at the end and do the audio.
It wasn't
part.
even ironic.
I'm more of a visual storyteller.
It was earnest, and that's the worst part. Is that it was earnest.
You're earnest because you're stupid, and I'm scared of you.
I'm earnest because I saved Christmas.
You're earnest because you gotta go to jail. First appearance of Wernstrom.
I love this dynamic between the two.
Wernstrom.
You young whippersnapper.
Yeah, he's like 30 years younger than him, but they're both over 100, which is fun.
30 years younger than him. The professor used to, Wernstrom was a student of the professor's. I don't know if that's revealed in this episode or another episode. But
why don't you remember that?
It doesn't matter.
It was in the flashback.
They are long. I don't know. I mean, I think about a lot
watching?
I was watching. I have
Did you
quotes
take notes?
written down. Yes, I took notes. I always do, but I might have been looking at something else at that moment. But
okay.
The point is,
we got to the bottom of that one.
I've watched so many of these episodes so many times, it's hard to remember what happens in what episode, even if I just watched that episode.
I thought it was funny. I didn't realize this. Their whole rivalry started because the professor gave Wernstrom an A- for penmanship on like one test. And their rivalry going through the whole series is all based on that 100 years ago.
Even if it takes 100 years, I'll get you back.
It's not just that.
Yes, it is. That's what he says.
Okay,
you don't know because you didn't watch the flashback. You were diddling your clit or something.
Diddling my clit. Excuse me. That's what I'm saying, though, is all my memories of this show blur together because I was like, but they both also dated Mom. And it's like, that never came up in this episode.
I think that was a plot point they added later just to, add more story to the background of the characters.
It's hard to be this, like clairvoyant. Like I feel.
Yeah, we're like gods looking down on these Futurama people. We know the past and the present.
Which reminds me that like Futurama and The Simpsons have predicted so many events of of our lifetime.
Yes, they predicted very predictable things that our terrible behavior would lead to in the future if we chose to ignore them.
That, but then also like, the meme going around lately of Lisa Simpson when it's the future episode
We know,
and
Mom.
she's the president.
We know.
She inherited all
keep
the debt
explaining.
from Trump.
We know.
And she's wearing the same outfit as Kamala Harris.
That's a fun wrinkle. Okay, so in the second scene of Futurama, episode 8, we do see Ron Popeil.
Yes.
And we get an introduction of what science experiments are like in the future. And Wernstrom's, which is apparently one of the best, is a reverse scuba suit, which allows a fish to kind of come out of water and walk around like a dog. But that doesn't even seem that impressive based on the technology that exists.
Especially
but why would you
since
want it?
Part of the demonstration was disciplining the fish. It's like, what do you want me to see that like fish aren't even that great?
And then we beat the fish. Then that's that's just
a little animal pet abuse in there.
And
the fish is named Cinnamon, which I did think was funny.
The poor professor is SOL right now because he brought his death clock and Wernstrom
you did it last year.
I hope whatever you invented this year is better than that atrocious death clock you brought last year.
I love that.
Did I? And did it put all you young whippersnappers in your place?
Hardly. So the professor quickly whips up the blueprint for a smelloscope on a cocktail napkin. He describes the smelloscope. The smell enters this cigarette burn, goes around this olive pit, and this appears to be a doodle of me in a sombrero.
Oh, and
are you a doodler, Solomon?
I doodle all the time. I have a sketchbook right next to me.
I wish I could draw.
I just it's a skill that I have that I don't use for any purpose other than for my own entertainment. So it's really just a waste of my time.
Yeah, but like in school, I would always see the kids doodling in their margins, and I would try and do it, and I would be like, my doodles suck.
Here's the thing about doodling. It's not about skill level. It's just about enjoying yourself. Be free.
I don't understand the concept of that.
Doodling.
There's no accolades. I can't be the best at doodling.
I think my desire to doodle was killed by, I think her name was Alana in high school. And
here we go.
I was drawing something and I said to someone, another friend commented on it and was like, hey, that's pretty good. And I was like, it's all right. Noses are hard to draw. And then this Alana chimes in with no, they aren't. Just out of nowhere. And I was so upset. What if they are for me, Alana? And she was just always that type of person. And she just really stuck in my craw that day. And I gave up doodling then and there. Junior year of high school.
Wow.
I'll be honest with you. I'm an Alana. I destroyed so many dreams in junior high school. It was like, is that the best you can do? Well, good luck with that for the rest of your life.
What you can see about Solomon right now is that he's beautiful, but what you can't see is he's 6'5". So the combination is very intimidating.
You're 6'5"?
Where
was I the night we met? I feel like you should be.
I think maybe Solomon was sitting down.
Oh yes, you know how I walk up to people sitting down.
You kind of putter up.
I mean, it's no joke. Nick, every time I'm in LA with Nick, he wants me to meet 18 people that here's the difficult part.
No, it's the same 3 people over and over again, and you just keep counting them.
The difficult part is he talked about so many people for so long like just saying their names, and I didn't have a face to put to the name. Now I've like met all of them, but I forget which name goes with which face. So I'm imprinting right now so that Solomon will always be you in my brain from here on out. Because I thought I met you at a completely different point in time, which I think was a different person that Nick won't shut up about.
Look, it's happened to all of us.
Thank you.
I feel like life is just a long line of people introducing me to somebody.
That, especially when
nice.
I mean, I think that's true for everyone, but when you are in the entertainment business, when networking is like a necessary sin of your career, and then, I mean, I know I can only speak for myself here, but meet and greets have really fucked with my ability to retain the memory of meeting a person.
Oh, when you meet a lot of people at once, that definitely would.
There was a time before the pandemic when I would meet 300 people a day.
That seems like a lot of people at one time.
Just
Why were we ever doing that?
No, 300 of course was an exaggeration, but like on a
Not
show
at
night.
DragCon. At DragCon, it was probably more than 300.
DragCon, it's like 1,000 people, but but no, like on tour, you know, I could meet about 100 people a day between the crew and the meet and greet.
That's a lot of people. See, I've been fortunate
So
enough
you'll forgive me. Anyway,
Farnsworth is laughed off the stage. Which confuses me because Wernstrom like gets up and criticizes him, and he seems to have his revenge. But he also said that this exact same thing happened the year before, so I don't know why he's surprised or relishing it.
It's you know, it's whatever. We just need to know they don't like each other. You got this professor, you got that professor. They don't really like each other. Let's move on.
Is this the part where he gives him the lowest grade possible?
Yes, an
Yes.
A minus.
A minus.
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 Oh, A minus. God, did I watch this episode? So one of my favorite recurring jokes is that the professor calls everyone in to see the smelloscope, and Fry goes, "You built the smelloscope," and the professor goes, "No, I remembered I built one last year," which only adds to, did he take the smelloscope there before? Like,
Yeah, where's he tucking it away? It's enormous.
it's enormous. One of my favorite jokes in the series, and I say this once per episode, this is my favorite joke in the series, but the writing's pretty good, is the whole Uranus Eurectum moment.
Yes.
Fry's smelling around.
When I was in middle school and I heard that joke, I had a field day.
Oh, and I felt clever for understanding it.
Oh, believe me, it's like Dick's Burger in Seattle. Like every time I've ever introduced anybody, we're gonna go get a bag of dicks. I'm like, look, it's been 16 years.
The bag of dicks. I normally was told ever had dicks in your mouth?
Dicks in your mouth.
Yes.
We're gonna go
Some
get some
greasy
dicks
dicks
in our mouth. But the hamburgers there are delicious.
Oh, it's the best. But the fact of the matter is that I've and I can't judge anyone new to the joke because when I was introduced to it, I did the same slew of fucking jokes.
Oh yeah.
True.
I now, like, as someone who comedy is a part of my job, there's moments where I end up saying the jokes that drive me nuts just because I have an opportunity, and then I feel dirty afterward. Like, I feel mad with myself for having made that joke. I can't remember the most recent one of those I had.
I feel like
Was it my wife?
No, a well-placed my wife is still good.
It's very fun. I like it.
Somebody did like a really quiet my wife under their breath like a year ago. I don't remember who.
Quiet, my wife.
But it was so well timed and it was so quiet and I just died of laughter.
There's something about gently telling jokes that really does it for me. Hopefully,
So Fry,
our listeners watched the episode, so I don't have to actually do the Uranus Eurectum joke, but it's very well delivered just by the professor.
And hopefully they also watched Borat. Otherwise, they're not going to have as much fun.
And also, hopefully they've watched Drag Race and didn't just stumble upon this podcast by complete chance. They're only interested in listening to podcasts about the works of Matt Groening, even though they've never seen any.
That Venn diagram is a very specific one.
But hey, if we can charge them like a lot of money, if we can get a couple whales from that pool, we'll be set.
Couple whales.
If we can get that one guy to listen.
You know what a whale is? Like in microtransactions?
Yes.
Solomon?
No, not at all.
Okay, so like in a game on your phone, it's like you probably put $5 into a game. You're like, how did they?
lots of money.
No.
Well, there you go. You're a whale.
Stop. I'm a whale.
Yes, we're all whales. I play Hearthstone and I give it like $80 every 3 months, and I don't know why.
No, I don't give Hearthstone my money, but I gave.
But you're bad at Hearthstone, so it's different.
That's.
Solomon, I made her a Hearthstone deck one time, and the season rotation came, and she just let it auto redo. Like it didn't even have the hero card anymore. It's not the same deck anymore.
I've never played this game. Look, honestly, if I paid full price for a video game and they were like, for $10 more, here is the ending of the game and saying you won, I would pay it. I would buy it.
I went through a really it was around the same time I was like quitting drinking for the first time in my life. I'm on the time that stuck right now, but there were like 2 times before it. And I replaced alcohol with the Simpsons Tapped Out game.
Oh, yes.
And I spent easily like, I don't know, I'm going to just say hundreds. It wasn't like, we didn't get to $1,000, and I don't think it was more than 500, but that much on a phone app is enough. But it was an episode of South Park criticizing that game that got me to stop giving it my money, and I've been in recovery ever since.
Now I just play South Park Tapped Out.
But isn't it amazing how cartoons can have that effect on us, then cartoons can save us from other cartoons?
Mm-hmm. For me, it was getting on one of the leaderboards for one of those games that I was like, okay, you clearly spent too much money if you're...
This only happens. There's
it's literally a leaderboard for who paid the most money in this game.
Oh my God, but that competitive aspect, it works on me. There's a ball of trash heading for Earth.
Fry smells it because he's sniffing around the universe.
Fry smells it, ball of trash heading for Earth. Everyone's confused. Professor says, New York is doomed. Bender says, let's get lootin'. And then we get to a wonderful line. Oh, here we go. Just as I suspected. The answer lies in this movie I found on the internet. And that's where we are at right now in history. Because, basically anything I want to learn, anything I need to know. I tell people who are like, how do you start doing drag? And I'm like, well, when I did it, we struck a fire and the older queens would paint my face by the fire. But now I just tell everyone to go to YouTube. So I felt like that was very prescient. Who said prescient a second ago?
They should make some YouTube videos on how to be funny during Snatch Game, because that would really help.
Wow.
Oh, not me.
Yeah.
Not for you.
Other queens.
I'm saying for the baby queens.
You were just saying that, but it felt pointed because you're such a little
Everything else I say to you is mean.
Wait, first of all, Nick, people were being funny on Snatch Game in the very beginning.
That's fair. That is actually fair. Actually, it's funny. Like the actual good Snatch Games are so few and far between.
And
it's
also,
UK won.
You know what's also hilarious to me? When someone isn't funny and there's no reaction. That is hysterical every time. When somebody's like, here's something hilarious, and then there's like, oh no? Well, let's just sit in the awkwardness.
But this is what I wrote down.
But I workshopped this with my grandma. I love Fry saying, "Oh, in my day, the only videos on the internet were porn." And the professor says,
Yes.
"Actually, that's still true." And then I love the vocal performances here.
Now that the garbage is in space, Doctor, perhaps you can help me with my sexual inhibitions.
With gusto.
There was a couple good lines, and by the way, the video tells us that there was like a bunch of garbage in Manhattan, and
In the
they
year
decided-
2000.
Yeah, it also doesn't seem that unrealistic. But they like take all of the garbage and they put it out on a barge, and then the barge goes into space eventually. And now it's coming back to Earth for some reason. I don't know why it's landing specifically on New York again.
It just like
1,000 years later.
slingshotted, it boomeranged around the universe.
And that was one of the fears they had back then. But I also truly love that since the initial issue was from 2000 and how dire it was, and how we're 21 years ahead of that. We don't do
And it's
anything.
We
way worse.
still haven't done anything. We still haven't shot the garbage into space yet.
Honestly, best idea I've heard so far. There was a lot of good lines in it though, like the landfills were full, New Jersey was full. And when they're getting the rocket, they're like, later on the city used its mob connections to obtain a rocket and launch the garbage into space, which is
Mob
very true as well.
I love those things just slipped in there. Also, when they had the garbage on a boat and they were sending it around from country to country, and then he says, even that one really filthy country. You know the
You
one.
know the one
And
I
it could be any, like the joke is that like the racism lies in you.
Yeah.
Like they're not going to say anything.
I
because-
listed 10 countries in my head. And I was like,
Funny enough, the barge of trash going from country to country, though, did you know that happened to Evita's corpse?
No one wanted it?
Did you know that happened to Eva Perón's corpse? Well, what happened is first she was like, she was given like a saint's burial, and a person was assigned to just preserve her corpse. So she was
she was like a mummy?
She was like in a glass casket, and he would just like replace the formaldehyde every day and do all this work on her every day, hours and hours of work to just keep her preserved, looking like she was still alive. And then he became obsessed with her, and then he like fell in love with Evita's corpse. And eventually they said, we don't want the corpse here anymore because she was part of this coup and this revolution that we've like moved past. So get this corpse out of Argentina. And they start shipping her around to different countries, and no one wants Evita's corpse because they're afraid they're gonna like bring on the wrath of the people loyal to Evita. And it ends up back in Argentina, and then she's put into a tomb, and the tomb's like haunted now.
why isn't that the musical?
Evita 2, the story of her corpse.
I would watch it. Madonna can do it again.
Can you believe? It's like, first
I would
of all,
love to
can
see
you
Madonna
believe
dead on a table for an hour. That sounds great.
Madonna dead on the table? We got her. We got Madonna. Let's do it.
Oh, Evita 2.
Oh my goodness.
I think that there's like a love song that he sings to the corpse. I think it's a good movie.
Sorry for that tangent. It's just once I'm reminded of Evita, I can't help but.
That's a good piece of information that I'm now happy
good
I
trivia.
can share.
We find out in the future everything is completely recycled. Robots are made from old beer cans. Beer cans are made from old robots. That sandwich you're eating is made from old discarded sandwiches. Nothing is new in the year 3000. I kind of love that. Isn't that what we're striving towards now? You know?
Look, I've eaten other people's sandwiches before.
Yeah.
You can-
I'll eat a sandwich that I find.
I mean, that's what they do on Chopped, on those episodes where it's like, take these leftovers and make it into something new. I guess that's the dream, right?
Yeah, that's always like there's no follow up with the leftovers. Like, whose leftovers are these?
these fabricated leftovers. Someone spent hours making that food look like it had been eaten, but it's just like sitting in the green room. Like
somebody wasn't just randomly eating a meal and they just took it away from them and they're like, this is for Chopped.
I'm so glad you watched Chopped.
I love Chopped. I think I've cried on more episodes of Chopped than in anything in my real life.
I love Chopped for so many reasons. I think it's made me a better.
We're moving on.
Futurama?
We get the first appearance of Mayor Poopenmeyer, which is
and his introduction is this situation is extremely serious, Mayor Poopenmeyer.
And he's incompetent and a power-hungry weasel, just like every New York mayor ever, which I like.
Yes.
Mayor Poopenmeyer.
We're about to have Yang be the new Poopenmeyer, am I right?
Wait, did we get to the part where they actually went up to the garbage ball yet?
No, they're about to make the plan.
Okay. They're making the plan.
There's an Armageddon type plan where they have like kind of a floating 3D model and they're going through all their options. And the professor decides that they can plant a bomb on a fault line and it'll blow it all up.
I just love that, this is the moment in the episode where I realized this must be a parody of so many sci-fi asteroids falling to Earth about to destroy New York movies. It's like, I love that basically every episode can be tracked back to a reference of some vintage sci-fi thing, but because it's Futurama.
If by vintage sci-fi do you mean 2002's Michael Bay movie Armageddon?
That's vintage now. We already talked about this.
Was it
only has to be
2002?
10 years old.
I feel like that was like 98, 97.
Armageddon's in the 90s?
Yeah.
Whoa.
I never saw it.
Yeah, it's about Armageddon.
You've never seen Armageddon? Have you seen Deep Impacts? That one would be more up your alley.
That sounds Deep Impact up my alley.
Deep Impact is
That's
Armageddon
Also,
for moms.
The most annoying part about Armageddon is that they survive, so it's not even Armageddon. That's the whole point of Armageddon.
False advertising, yeah.
It has to happen. Like, it can't not happen.
It can't. I just love though that because Futurama is a parody of all sci-fi, when Wormstrom's trying to downplay the severity of the issue, he's like, that smell could be anything. Some cheese on the lens, like the smelloscope equivalent of like this crackpot theory. Anyway,
we've got the first appearance of Morbo and the News Lady.
Yes. But isn't
And
there
they're
also
giving the news about the meteor coming to kill everyone. Were you gonna say something, Solomon?
Oh no, I'm slowly remembering these scenes in order, even though I literally just watched this episode this morning. And I probably should have taken notes.
It's kind of like when you watch an episode of Futurama, it's like taking a pill. It's just all in there now. I don't know what part came first.
Well, for me, I think I just had too much fun in my 20s, and now my memory is just like, hey, buddy, good luck with that.
Yeah, we can't overlook the fact that substances have killed all of our brain cells at this point.
I'm sure I did very well in my SATs, but if you ask me any of those questions right now, I would fail miserably.
Oh, don't give me an analogy. Don't you put a colon in between two words. I don't want to do it.
I don't want
An analogy. They end up on the trash meteor. They've got the doomsday bomb to blow it up before it hits the earth.
There's a pile of Bart Simpson dolls.
Pile of Bart Simpson dolls. Bender eats his shorts.
Which piece of Jinkx Monsoon merch is gonna be up there on that meteor? Like, what did you over-order?
Oh, definitely like Vaudevillians tour t-shirts.
Aww.
And it's funny,
I like the Vaudevillians. If you're listening to this, buy a Vaudevillians tee. Jinkx is...
I don't know where they are now.
Wait,
They're still like... They're somewhere. They're in a warehouse. I don't know. I'm trying to think. The thing is like we've over-ordered things, but we'll continue to sell them and just mark down the price more and more until they are gone. I think one of the depressing things that's happened in my life is finding like a rack of 5 unworn Jinkx Monsoon t-shirts just like in my local Buffalo Exchange in Portland, Oregon. I was like, who bought 5 of these t-shirts and then immediately took them to Buffalo Exchange?
Well, I'll tell you, as someone who used to work at Buffalo Exchange, we only take the winner's tees. If someone comes in and that queen was in second place or below, we don't take them.
I also was thinking like, this doesn't seem like they had like a size run of my t-shirts. So I'm like, is this stolen merchandise? Because it's all should be in my basement right now.
Oh, is there just a loose box out there that just got grabbed?
I guess like something fell off a truck or something.
See, merchandise is just so, shirts are just so heavy to carry around.
It's hard for me to design merch sometimes because I only wear black basic cotton everything. So like I don't know what someone wants in a t-shirt. Like Alaska.
You should just sell cotton onesies with like a cape attached.
Black cotton onesies with some
That's an
lipstick
No
on them.
logo. Just
I mean, it's really hard to know what's going to sell. Alaska's best-selling t-shirt, I think, for the longest time was just the one that said your makeup is terrible. And I'm like, that's brilliant.
Yeah, it's a great
That's
slogan.
I have that
fucking
one.
brilliant.
I got that one in my closet.
Like, you don't need any context. It's insulting to whoever reads it. Like, that's what people want in a t-shirt. Not me, like, saying, like, well, what? I'm your mom.
They plant the bomb. It's supposed to be for 25 minutes, but it goes down to 15 minutes, and then it goes down to 5 minutes, and then it goes to 6 H minutes.
6 H minutes.
What's going on here?
6 H minutes?
It's
Oh,
upside
the professor set the bomb timer upside down.
down.
And it's
They
really
have-
funny later because he's like, I could have sworn I read the manual perfectly, and he holds up the manual and he's reading it upside down.
Wait, wasn't it? It was the spot they were supposed to put it on was it was like, oh, this is we're right next to hypodermic ridge. This must be where we. This is where we put them.
They have to abandon the doomsday bomb idea
Because it's only 50, it's only, what is it, 52
they
seconds?
wouldn't have enough time to escape before the bomb went off. So
But in
Bender,
doing
like,
so, they're dooming New York by,
yes,
they
yeah,
should have
by saving
sacrificed
themselves.
Like Bruce Willis in Armageddon.
Do you think they should have? Because they just go back to Earth and come up with
And
a new
everything's
plan,
fine.
and everything's fine. I mean, it's a fucking cartoon. We don't have to worry about that shit. Anyway,
Well, but in all honesty, if I was ever put in a situation where, hey, you can save the world or you can die, I'm like, well, I'm sorry, but the world is fucked. We're all dying together.
You're coming with me, damn it.
well, also, I feel like they knew they had enough time to figure something out, and they've got like a freaking genius professor waiting back on Earth. It's like when I watch Doctor Who, and they're like,
Oh my god,
trying
every
to
fucking
make.
episode she talks
They're
about
trying
Doctor
to
Who
make
now.
like a
She
decision to
marries
save
one
them.
fucking British guy, Solomon, and she just cannot stop talking about Doctor Who.
They're trying to make the decision whether to save themselves or save like the entire world. And they always end up making the decision to save the entire world. But also like you're with an intergalactic space genius who knows how to do everything. Like you should just trust that like he's going to figure something out at the last minute.
Like,
To
Solomon,
be fair,
I'm-
he acts like a Looney Tune the whole time, so you can't really trust him on anything. Doctor Who's never been like a reliable source of savior. He's always like, I might save you, I don't know. And you're like, okay.
He has such weird mood swings. It's hard to keep up. But now he's Matt Smith and I'm into it. Anyway.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
That's where I'm at in the series. I know he's
So,
someone else
Futurama episode 8.
He's a
This
lady
is
now.
pertinent. I know. The doctors. A doctor.
But wait, isn't it? I know this
Because
is like
the
way
term
too
is
late.
gendered. The doctor's now a doctor.
I think it's like that joke where it's like, I can't operate on this child. It's my son. But like the father was also in the car crash. You know what I'm talking about? That riddle. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, because the doctor is the child's mother.
I want to go back in time to when they announced Doctor Who was going to be a lady and make some version of that joke, because I feel like I'm like 3 years too late, but it's funny. Like, okay, so let's workshop it. I think it's the TARDIS. The TARDIS, like...
I regret that I did this.
How's it going to work?
I'm glad it's still a sci-fi television show because we can like trick our listeners into thinking that this is like good for the podcast.
So if it's like someone's person dies by one of those someone's dad is killed by one of those little robots, and then Doctor Who comes, and then they're like, "Hi, I'm Doctor Who," and then it's like, "How is it Doctor Who?" If it's the dad, it's something like that, you know. I feel like, can we all get a sketchbook out?
Why are
like,
we giving time to this? Like,
No,
stop
I can't.
it. Stop.
I have no idea what this means.
I don't
I'm trying to
understand why you're doing this to
I
me.
need to map it
Or
out.
Solomon. I thought Solomon was your friend.
Solomon's a very good writer, though, and I feel like we can crack this. Let's just give it 30 minutes of our time.
No one likes you. Shut up.
All right,
So
guys,
they have
stop
to make
fighting.
a big ball of garbage to shoot at the other ball of garbage. That's the new plan.
Which
So
I
the
love.
new plan is to find where could we find something the exact weight and density of garbage? What about garbage? Fry has to teach them
Garbage
how
isn't
to
something
make
you
garbage.
just find laying around in the streets of Manhattan.
Look at this. Garbage. Garbage. This photo of your wife? Pure garbage.
My favorite is when Mayor Poopenmeyer is making garbage and he just sort of lightly puts his swivel chair on its side. But it's not even a good plan because they have to move all the garbage outside to collect it. So why aren't they just
There's
throwing it
not
out the
enough
window?
time for this garbage to get gooey. You know, the whole plan is to find something that has the same consistency as garbage, but that garbage has been aging for 1,000 years. This garbage is fresh garbage. It's going to be more, not going to be as stuck together. It's going to be more
But what
pointy.
if they put some poop in there? Because part of Fry's advice was I pooped in the garbage can for a month. So maybe they all did that.
That's probably it. That was
They pooped in a garbage can for a month in the moments they have before.
No, if all of New York City poops in a bucket at the same time, then that's like a month's worth, right?
I feel like you're not a true you haven't really been to New York until you've seen someone pooping on the street. That's like a rite of passage. Until then, you're just a tourist.
I
Solomon,
feel like
you lived in New York for a bit.
I've seen someone shit on the street in every city I've lived in, and I just think that's just the kind of
All across this beautiful country of ours.
and I feel like that's the energy that I put out into the world. Hey, you feel like shit in the street? Do it in front of Solomon.
Is this a safe place?
I was
seen
late.
lots of things on the streets, but shitting has been a rare occasion.
I was late to work in my first month in Los Angeles because a man was scooping the shit out of his pants into the garbage, and I was like, you know what? I'll just walk to the next stop. And I missed my bus, so I had to.
I have a really hard time with poop. Just like when I see it in the world, it really sticks with me. My cat is it's this whole saga
Cat
with
poops
the
are
cats.
fine though. They're so dry.
I know, but
But they smell
She
so
won't-
bad.
she won't go in her litter box right now because there's another cat in the house that's kind of bullying her, and they are having just like the weirdest turf wars right now. So she's been pooping on the catio, which means like I have to go out once a day and just scoop her poop like I'm a freaking dog owner or something. Like The whole reason I got cats is because I don't want to have to pick up the poop. And now she's found a way. Of course she's found a way. I do everything for her. And she doesn't even care. She's still withholding of affection.
Is there a litter box out in the catio?
We're working on it. So
I feel like the solution is as many litter boxes as possible.
Yes, we know, but we have to find a way to cover things. It's like you got to do one thing to do this thing. I tell you, living
What
a
kind of
day-to-day
temple
life.
are you building for these litter boxes that you like what is going on with these litter is there
I don't know. You know, with the
does every
quarantine-
litter box have to be a reveal? Like it doesn't.
With the quarantine, it's like everything has to be a production. Otherwise, I'd lose my freaking mind. Like, I used to spend every day on stage, and now I'm just at home with people who hate me, you know?
I understand. I make a whole day out of going to CVS, so I'm not going to judge anybody.
It's gotta be. Oh, my goodness. I get
You know
dressed
what I
up
just
like Miss
realized?
Frizzle. What? We haven't
Amy
talked
and
about Futurama in like 20 minutes.
I just realized Amy and Hermes aren't in this episode.
No,
Oh, no.
I do.
That's
I
why-
do.
Do you think this episode was supposed to take place in between episodes 1 and 2 before they meet?
No. I just think there's so many politics around like these big studio network TV shows. You know, you see it on every show. There's like the core cast of actors who play the core characters, and then there's like the second tier cast because they don't want to have to pay everyone for every episode.
Yeah, the top dollar.
But like then those people have agents who are like, well, you have to give them at least 6 episodes. So
Look. They introduce a black guy and an Asian woman in one episode. You got to
And
give the
then they're
audience time to breathe, because that's a
Oh.
major adjustment in a science fiction cartoon.
But there's no Nibbler either. I still think this episode was like initially written to be the second episode or something.
Nibbler does not have to be in every episode. There's plenty
I
of
think.
episodes with no reference to Nibbler.
It might have been in
So
another
there's
episode.
there's a news conference where they're telling everyone how to make garbage, and I just think it's really funny that Bender's in the background slamming beers and throwing them on the ground. I just like that job. I'd like
He
that
hasn't
job.
stopped doing that since then.
Zoidberg
Somebody
eats a
get
piece
this
of
robot
garbage.
some more beer.
Like, why does the beer even need to be drank at this point? We don't have time. Like, and also, like, the fact that they have to throw it on the ground before it's usable.
Honestly, I appreciate this giant garbage ball of fire taking its sweet time to hit Earth. It is just luxuriously making impact.
It's
taken in the sights. Hasn't
It's like
been to our
when one of those
galaxy in a long
queens
time.
has a mega mix, and like the mega mix starts with like a full minute and a half of just house beats, and the host is trying to get the audience pumped by getting them to clap along, but the intro goes on for so long that the audience stops clapping, and they're like, really, she should be here by now.
And then she does like a monologue, and it's like a little too long. Not
And she
that
comes
funny, but
halfway
she's
out of
doing
the
it
dressing
well.
room, and she's
Yeah.
teasing you by coming halfway out of the dressing room, but orders a shot and like takes a shot, all before she hits the stage.
This is, and also if it's followed by the most lackluster performance, I'm fully living.
the most lackluster performance where she spends the whole time grabbing the tips and kissing the person on the cheek and like making small talk, like, how's your kids? Wait, I gotta get back to this number. Hold on 1 second.
They collect all the garbage and place it atop a rocket, and the professor does a countdown. He goes 5, 4, 3, 2, 3,
3,
4,
4,
5, 6.
Oh, just press the button, and then
And then Fry tries to push the button.
and misses. It's a big red button, and Fry misses by a good 2 inches. And that is one of the funniest
it's so
things in this
funny.
show.
And
And
he
now
just
I
goes,
do it
"Oops."
all the time in my real life. Just to make myself laugh.
How many
the
big
plan
red
works.
buttons do you come across?
No, but like if an alarm's going off or something, and I have to push the button, and everyone's looking at me to push the button, and they're all like, "Can't wait for the alarm to go off," and then I purposefully. My friends love it. They love it.
The plan works. They're not worried about the garbage ball coming back because they're acting like 21st century people now. Farnsworth gets his award, which they took from Wernstrom because he was, quote, a jackass, and all the other scientists hate him. And that's the end.
When I was watching this episode, I was like, oh, this is when he gets the award, the polluting medal of pollution. And I'm like, no, wait, that's a different episode where the answer to save everyone is to act like a 21st century person and kill the planet for just
carbon emissions that time.
Yeah.
It's like
paper waste and solid waste.
There's no lessons learned is what the moral of the story is.
The point is, pollution will one day save us, so we better
the year
not
will
stop.
be one day longer, and I officially declare that day Robot Party Day. Or it's a week, huh?
1 week longer, but like even that, so that they're going to remove 1 second from every day from now on? Is it every day? Yeah. Or is it every year?
No, they're not taking away a second. It's because they're further away from. No, the Earth is rotating at the same speed, so the lengths of the days will not change. The lengths of the year will change because the planet is further away from the sun, and therefore its orbit.
So 1 second a year?
There's no seconds. What are you talking about?
They were talking. The scientists were saying
it's a different episode.
No, not. I'm not talking about Futurama. I'm talking about real life right now.
Oh, that thing. Yeah, I don't care about that.
We're
all gonna die from it. We can't.
We're losing a second, and you don't care.
We're gonna die. We're all gonna die. Jinkx, think about it for a second.
I've been trying
Solomon
for thousands of years, and it's not worked out.
So, Solomon, we like to do a thing on this show where we say, hey, which character do you identify with and which character do you want to get in the sheets with of all the Futurama characters?
I would definitely have sex with Bender easily.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes.
Solomon has had many boyfriends over the years, but they're always just referred to. It's like on a sitcom where they don't want to pay for the guest star. So they're like, yeah, Joey's got a girlfriend. And you only see the back of her head. So I don't know what your type is.
I've had one boyfriend in our entire friendship.
But he was around a while and I never saw him.
Yes, it's also fine. No, I don't really technically have a type. But a robot that's slightly abusive seems pretty much like it would be my type.
Okay, good.
Like
do you identify
Roomba?
with any? Do you identify with any Futurama characters?
Leela, easily, every time.
Mm. You're both Leelas. You and Jinkx are both Leelas.
Yeah. I'm a Leela with a mom rising.
And I'm a Fry with an Amy rising. What's your rising sign?
I would say my rising would be the professor.
Okay, yeah. I see that. You've got a lot of good schemes.
I got good schemes.
Yeah, and you have a disregard for human life. I see it.
Well, yes, I can definitely.
We do scheme.
Any final thoughts? We're at the end of the episode.
Yeah, I want to know just what are your overall feelings towards Futurama? We've had so many guests who have never seen it before, so I feel like we have more conversation of why we think Futurama is important and significant. Luckily, there were no racist caricatures on this episode. So we
really dodged a bullet there. Yeah. That's 1 in 8 episodes, apparently, because it's the 8th one.
So this, I want to know from a Futurama fan, someone who's seen a lot of it, what does Futurama mean to you? And if you could list its accomplishments in your mind.
I would say it's profoundly irreverent. It's just it makes amazing points that truly mean nothing, but they just sound good. I love it for that fact. I think I just mean science fiction is just the play in our own reality, and it's just so well done. And now that it makes fun of so many things that I associate with that are still or like still being topics of discussion. So yeah, I think it's good to watch forever because it's still going to remain relevant.
That was so beautifully put. Like, and it made me think about the fact that, like, you know, Al Gore's like Inconvenient Truth, like, includes a clip from Futurama because that was Al Gore realized the best way to explain global warming to the average American was to use a clip from this cartoon.
Dude, I saw Al Gore on the news the other day. He has been like spray tanning or something.
I ain't judging.
Or maybe he's right about the ozone and he's just getting more sun. He looked like he'd been in Aruba or something.
Look, I'm going to tell you right now, once I reach Al Gore's age, I will be experimenting with cosmetics in ways that no one should be doing.
He might have had some fillers too. I want you all to Google what Al Gore looks like now. He looks weird.
I have
like
had
he got
some
something
work
snatched.
I have had some work done, but none of it is anything that, like, I think anyone, like, people close to me know what it was and can see the difference. But, like,
she got a second butthole installed.
I haven't had the work done that most queens my age have had, so I'm happy that my face still looks mostly like my face. But I do have this, like, thought about it where, like, when it gets too bad, I will do a complete overhaul. I don't give a fuck. Like,
oh, why not?
The second I become unhappy with it, I will have a new face.
Oh, I'm going to have such a field day with my body in the future. It is going to be, who knows what I would look like. Honestly, I'll make my skin into a new color if I have to. I will figure it out.
When that's an option, I
nice
want to go like, I want to go like lilac or periwinkle.
I want to be metallic.
Yes, like
Metal Mario.
Metal Mario.
Just like an obsidian or
if I
Computer.
could, I'd be pink gold peach. That's
so we can only become Mario Kart characters now.
my favorite thing about pink gold peach is I can't remember. This is a quote of someone, but
I hate
it
this
just
quote.
said pink gold peach. The best reference to nothing I've ever seen. Because it's like, pink gold isn't a thing. Peach never turns into a metal peach at any point. This is just completely erroneous. Like, and also, pink gold peach is there. Baby Rosalina, baby
Solomon.
Daisy. These characters don't make any sense.
Solomon, did you ever play the one where you can turn into Cat Mario and Cat Peach?
no.
So it's like it was on the Wii U, so no one played it, but it's coming out for Switch again. They're like releasing it, but we could play online, and it's really fun multiplayer if you want to play.
Okay.
I think it comes out in like a month.
Well,
What's
now
the
we're
one
just
where-
making plans on the pod.
Yeah,
And your addresses.
yeah. Can I get your social real quick?
So real quick.
So, Solomon, do you have anything you'd like to plug?
Future-wise, I'm working on a very fun HBO show, season 2 of Love Life. So if anybody would like to watch that in the future, that'd be great. But right now, I'm just at my home, existing.
You've got weights in the background. We get it.
Those are just fixtures. I'm doing literally nothing.
It's an installation.
It's an art piece.
Congratulations on all the wonderful work that you put out into the
Thank
world.
you.
I always learn about things way too late. So getting into Shrill just recently, Nick will tell you,
Oh my God.
I'm excited about things like 10 years after they were relevant.
So Orange is the New Black. I told her it's this cool feminist show, lots of queer characters. Watch it. And she didn't for like 3 years, and then like 3 years later, she walks up to me and she starts quoting Red about killing a chicken. And I'm like, I know. I fucking know.
I want people to do things on my schedule. I hope you all enjoyed this episode as much as we did recording it. And we'll catch you again for the next episode. We've only got a few more episodes of Futurama left. So season 1 of I'm 40%.
It's like 200.
Obviously, I meant season 1.
I think there's only one left. So just I'll tell you what.
Oh my God, we're there.
Write some shit down.
You know what?
And then I'll put this in
Fuck it.
later.
You do the outro, Nick. You know what? You fucking do the outro, okay?
Okay. So, thank you for listening, and come back next week and subscribe to the Patreon. Did I do good, Mom?
Mommy, what?
Okay,
Bye, everyone.